Despite ongoing negotiations, Russia has vowed to veto a UN Security Council draft resolution by the Arab League that calls for President Bashar al-Assad to step aside. Moscow's using the Syrian crisis to show the world that it still has a say in global affairs. Russia has been steady in its stance over the past few months for the Syrian regime under al-Assad, saying that the draft resolution crosses one of their red lines. Syria is one of several Mideast states that has a close relationship with Russia, stemming from a strong relationship during the Cold War era. Syria is important to Russia as a key consumer of the Russian military-industrial complex, to the tune of $4 billion, and also Russian business investments to nearly $20 billion. But more strategically, the Syrian port of Tartus is Russia's foothold in the eastern Mediterranean basin, something that Russia reminded the world when it sent its aircraft carrier, Admiral Kuznetsov, to the port earlier this month. But Russia's reputation as a strong ally to certain states in the Mideast has been tarnished in recent years. Russian initiatives to hold summits on Palestinian-Israeli conflicts have floundered. Also, Moscow's support has flip-flopped on many countries it traditionally supported. Russia's relationship with Iran is tense after Russia changed its stance to support sanctions against Iran and backtracked on selling the S-300 surface-to-air defense system to the country. Russia's relationship with the former Libyan regime has also crumbled after Russia ended up abstaining on the UNSC vote against Libya, and a new regime has come in. This leaves Syria as one of the few places Moscow can try to push its weight around to prove that there is still a say in global matters beyond its immediate periphery. But Moscow is taking an incredibly complex issue in trying to mediate between global powers as well as the factions within Syria. Trying to come up with a plan that somehow convinces the Syrian regime to ease up on crackdowns, or a scheme in which al-Assad clan exits the country, could likely be impossible for a country like Russia to broker. Russia has issued invitations to both the al-Assad regime and the opposition to hold talks in Moscow. However, the opposition has stated that they will only attend if Russia pushes for the departure of al-Assad. And there are conflicting reports on if the Syrian regime has accepted the invitation. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov stated today that it is not Russia's place to negotiate regime changes, showing that it may be something that Moscow does not feel it can deliver on. This is one of the reasons why Russia is pushing off revealing its proposals for Syria. Besides the complexities of sorting through a plan for Syria, there's another reason that the Russians are drawing out the discussions on the country. Moscow is interested in the world, particularly the U.S., being focused on Syria, as Russia is working through some difficult internal volatility heading into the presidential elections in 1 month. Moscow is increasingly concerned that Washington has plans to escalate the anti-Kremlin sentiment in the country leading up to the elections. Russia would prefer the U.S. focus in on Syria more than Russia. Moreover, there's a possibility that Moscow could use the negotiations over Syria as a bargaining chip with Washington. But the problem is that first, Russia has to show that it can actually make a difference within the Syrian negotiations, something it is not clear it can actually do. At the very least, Russia is providing another diplomatic outlet for the Syrian crisis, which could be of great utility to the U.S., who is not all that eager to escalate its own involvement in Syria to military intervention.